Good evening, and good evening. This is B1 Brother Moses, B1 Network, senior partner here delivering the news at 5, live at 5 after 5. So, discovered earlier has increased in the number of signatories after the death of controversial YouTube Manosphere propagandist Kevin Samuels. What I want to do is to actually provide one more update on that petition called to remove Kevin Samuels from YouTube and Instagram, and then give a little bit of background on the use of petitions throughout the Black YouTube history. So first, I want to share my screen here, which actually is from the website change.org. And from it will show, rather, all right, and it should show the actual petition on change.org. Remove Kevin Samuels from YouTube and Instagram. A couple of key features here would be the petition details, comments, and then the updates. When I started this stream earlier today, just looking at the petition numbers, it was strictly out of curiosity. And we noticed that there were 33,368 signatures. And so we took that screenshot, played a little bit of music to allow our air to, let the air work. Just let air and music and good vibes work. And so as we come back here today, I want to press the refresh screen so we can see from 368, it is now at 450. So nearly an increase of 100 signatures just today. Scrolling down a bit more, we'll see that people are signing even today. This petition was actually originated from the Goldie Jones Channel. And the actual reason for the petition should have raised more alarms even before the passing of the controversial YouTuber. To read what the Goldie Jones Channel published is almost as heartbreaking as it is eye-opening. I've reviewed it once myself, and in order to prevent another trigger warning, I'll let you decide if you want to read it this time around without forcing that information upon you. Cool beans. I just give you the information. That way they can make their own assessment on what to do with the information. Now that he has passed, there have been so many dramatic ironies that are being revealed about the gender war. Now that he has passed, it is easier to see so many of the dramatic ironies, nearly a Shakespearean twist to everything that's going on from a certain perspective. We have to understand that outside looking in to the dynamics between the manosphere space, the Black woman empowerment space, the divester space, just a general Black YouTube sense apart from the conscious space, that there has been a back and forth and a jostling going for quite a while. And so rather than leave this just where it is, I do want to provide a bit of the context of some of those back and forth battles which have landed on change.org. So first, we see change.org here at the top. I could sign in. I want to go to the search part. And once I search, I want to show just a couple of examples of when the Manosphere, those who Kevin Samuels represented, attempted to weaponize these political tools against women YouTubers, Black women YouTubers. Of course, if there was one name that I would look to see, if there was a Black woman YouTuber who the Manosphere had weaponized a petition to go after, what name might the audience know already or assume? Again, if there were one name that the Manosphere would go after as far as women content creators, thinking Black woman empowerment, diversity, femininity, what else? Feminism, divestment, women's rights. If there was one YouTuber who could fit this model that the Manosphere did go after, it would be Cynthia G. "36 results, many of which were the weaponization of this change.org political tool against Black woman YouTuber Cynthia G to be removed from YouTube." Some of you all are like, we're day ones. We know this. We've been here a long time, but may have never actually looked at the actual language of these petitions. One thing that should stand out for sure is on this very first petition, whose insignia do we see above the name Cynthia G? That would be the insignia of the previous star of the Manosphere, Phil Advise, who has now changed his or transformed his presentation into a Pan-African hosting network channel. But as we see originally, one of the original preeminent voices of the Manosphere, Phil Advise show, his stamp is the one that is above the name Cynthia G when using these petitions to YouTube and Google against Black women YouTubers. Ironically enough, in this space, we've heard time and time again of the efforts of Black women to create a space of learning and safety about Black women's issues. Some that often go into the history, but many that deal with experiences of Black women right now, today. So that dramatic irony that we can pull from this string deals with these petitions and whom these petitions would seem to address. In this case, the petition to Department of Education, Georgia State House, Georgia State, adding a Black history to the educational curriculum, published by Cynthia G. it would be a step in the right direction here to actually read the language of what Cynthia G proposed or petitioned for. This was most likely 2 years ago at least. I will also leave that to those who would want to do further research into the matter so that it may not create any additional triggers to an already volatile Black YouTube. Without saying much, African American history being petitioned to the Department of Education is one of the reasons that Black YouTube content creator Cynthia G was targeted heavily by the Manosphere. Just a simple search reveals some of the biggest players use their platforms in an attempt to smear or bring down or even halt the momentum of Black women grassroots on social media, or Black women's grassroots efforts on social media. I wish I was reading this, it'd make it a lot easier. So as I scroll back up again, we saw that Cynthia G's was a petition to a governing body, one with the power to enact change. That's one way to use a political tool to create awareness and to build a network of people who can also serve as a voice for a cause. And then we have this example that comes from the Manosphere, a petition to the Sith Lord. Now, if we could make these things up, it would be one thing, but knowing that we cannot make these things up ourselves, it requires me to show more proof than what I've already provided. So the next level of inquiry will be to reaffirm, just how unreliable, unprofessional, how unserious Black Manosphere YouTube content creators are compared to the women who use these same tools. Now, that sentence got a bit complicated. Let me try it one more time. These niggas ain't serious. Yeah, that's how it should be said. I should have said it like that the first time. When it comes to using these political tools to enact change. I'll give you another example. Which is the recent, or not recent, August 4th petition to remove Fresh and Fit from YouTube. Why does somebody in Croatia, if that's the real case, and their 16 friends want to remove Fresh and Fit, who many also would classify as Manosphere content creators? I got another one. If there was one Manosphere content creator who rightfully should have been targeted with any of these tools, who might that Manosphere content creator be? Won't hold up the content long, I'll tell you. Tommy Sotomayor was also a target of change.org petitions. This case also shows the back and forth between men and women who use these tools. You'll see that on one side, Dan Tommy Sotomayor, and then on the next side, support Tommy Sotomayor. Stop social justice warriors from trying to silence Tommy Sotomayor's voice on social media. Stop hatred toward Black women. Petition 2, Washington Post. What just happened on my screen? I was on fire right there. Which brings us back to today's. The back and forth that we saw, one would have expected to discontinue, that the petitions would have been terminated. So the dramatic irony that we are experiencing in the Kevin Samuels death case is that despite Kevin Samuels passing, the numbers that want him removed continue to grow. The numbers of supporters who are saying keep Kevin Samuels on YouTube and Instagram, those petitions are dead. But petitions calling for the removal of Kevin Samuels, those go back at least 2 years. Just the news, just the unbiased news, just the news that you can use. Kevin Samuels' death sparks controversy across the globe as the tears of the Manosphere and their cries are heard across the diaspora. Never in the history of Black YouTube had we thought so many Black men could be humbled and brought to their knees in tears until the passing of their godfather. That being said, the emotional state of the average or the modern Black man seems to match his economic state. That by the year 2050 or sooner, it will be a negative value. For many in the Black community, we live or we experience or are all too familiar with individuals who hold negative value. The dramatic irony that there may never be a better case of a Black man who has negative value. One would only need to come right here to change.org, find the Goldie Jones Channel. As we see, this one petition trumps all other petitions, including those aimed at Cynthia G and Tommy Sotomayor. Those are dead, but this one petition, for some reason, has legs and has nearly 100 signatures added today, 7 days rather, after the passing of Kevin Samuels. I'll show one more time for the live update. Again, earlier today, it started at 368. from 368 to 442. And that's being nice, because the actual number has 33,000 in front of that. So I'll just say we started at 368 and it is still going. Signed 2 minutes ago. Signed 5 minutes ago. This example of negative value, if I could summarize it, says, even after death, they still want this nigga off YouTube and Instagram. He cannot say another mumbling word. But because of the negative value that he brought to the space, it's not enough for him to be dead. What it would seem is being asked or even demanded by Black women is that there be no Manosphere legacy, history, or search history for Kevin Samuels. That only the absolute removal of Kevin Samuels will do. Only the news. You don't like my opinion? Let me know in the comments. You think this was, this was this was pretty soft. Like, this could have got worse. But this has been your business update on the B1 Network. It's 5:30 at my time. So y'all have a good evening, and to the next stream. That's all I got, and I'm out.